All right, guys, we are now live. So here's our review for your HTML test that will be tomorrow. Kind of like an all little crash course on what you kind of need to know. So I'm going to first start off with telling you what we're going to do. We're going to make an HTML web page about Keith Urban that has an image, H1, font colors, background. We're going to center things, emphasize, bold, strong, italicize, and underline, and center things as well. All right. First thing you guys need to know how to do and remember is there needs to be a root folder for all your stuff to go into, meaning you've got your HTML document, you have any pictures that you're going to be placing there, all in that root folder. So I'm just going to make a real quick root folder right here. And I'm just going to name it Keith Urban. And I'm going to drop my picture that I'll be placing on the web page in there as well. And before I even start, I'm going to save my HTML document inside that folder so I don't forget as index.html, no spaces, sir. All right. Next thing I'm going to do so I can kind of see as I work, I'm actually going to open this document up in Google Chrome so I can refresh and see how things are working. So I'm going to go ahead and open with Google Chrome. Like so, and I'm going to snap it to the right, snap it to the left. Now, obviously, there's nothing here, and obviously the title is index.html because I don't have one on there. All right, so the first tag, as always, that we need to put on there to let the interpreter know what kind of language you're using is the HTML opening tag, which is doc type HTML. And again, I always like to close it so I don't forget. My HTML closing tag will be the last tag. Nothing will be underneath it. After that, we've got our head tag, which, as I've stated before, that we're not going to go into, is kind of like all the things that go behind the scenes of our web page minus the tab at the top. All right, so meaning like your metadata, your keywords, if you have a background song, if you've got JavaScript, if you've got a style sheet, all that type of stuff a lot of people put inside the head because it's not actually visual to the body. All right, the one thing you do need to know about the head is your title tag, which when you put it, oh my gosh, there you go, which when you actually script it, hit Control S and hit refresh, you will notice is going to be the tab at your top is what changes. You cannot alter how that looks with just this. Now, that takes probably a little bit more in depth. I talked about a favicon that you could put up there and all that. But again, in digital world, we're not going to get to that. All right. So again, review, HTML, everything's going to be inside these tabs. The only thing inside your head that you need to worry about is this title tab, which will affect the tag and the tab on your web browser. Underneath your head, we've got our body tag. And as always, I like to put my closing body tag right above my HTML tag because I know that now I'm working on everything that I want visible. That means everything inside here will be visible. So if I hit Control S, you will see it start to come up here. All right. Background color. It's very simple. We talked about these attributes, how certain tags have attributes, and it goes tag attribute specification. So we're going to be doing the background color to our body tag. So here's our tag. We're going to type the attribute in there, and we're going to specify what color we want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, is light blue a color, guys? No. Did anybody ever try that?
I've never tried it. Blue is a color.
It didn't work. Just goes to blue. So I'd have to actually find the hex code, but instead I'm just going to use blue. That is fine, like so. Did you just say you're going to be famous because you're on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, Ibarra. All right. As stated before, you're going to need to know like an H1 and H2. Those are pretty much standard sizes and fonts and all that for headings that people use in web pages, so you don't have to constantly keep scripting different things and remembering it. So we're just going to go ahead and open up an H1 tag and label it Keith Urban. And remember, anything in between your tags is what is going to be seen. So here's my opening tag. Here's my closing tag. That means Keith Urban should be seen on here. So let me go and refresh this. Like so. There it is. But I kind of want it centered. So I'm going to put a center tag around my H1 tag. Again, remember, anything in between the tags is what's going to be affected. So if my center tag is on the outside, then anything on the inside will be affected. And again, your rule of thumb, guys, for when you're opening and closing tags is the way you open them, you close them in reverse order. So center was open first, H1 was open second. That means H1 is closed first, and center will be closed second. At any time, guys, if you have a question, stop me in the broadcast. I don't really care if I've got to talk during this.
Go ahead, do your thing.
All right, cool. So now if I hit Control S to save and refresh, it is now gone centered. All right, let's talk about the P tag, which is the paragraph tag. And I'm just going to go ahead and simply state, here are some of my favorite songs from Keith Urban. And I'm going to close my P tag. All right, I understand some pretty small font. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to change the font attributes. We're going to make it a little bit bigger, change it a different color, maybe choose a different font as well. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the inside of my paragraph because I only want it to apply to this one. So I'm going to open up my font tag. First, let's go ahead and address the size because the attribute is size. So tag, attribute, specification. Remember, fonts go 1 to 7, 3 being normal, 1 and 2 being lower than the normal size, and 4, 5, 6, 7 being larger. So since this is kind of like a title to it, I'll just use 6. Let's change the color. Again, tag, attribute, specification, and let's just choose another easy color, green. Let me go ahead and close my font tag real quick before I forget, because I only wanted to apply to these words right here. So these words are going to be in between them. Hit Control S and let me hit refresh. Make sure things are going. It doesn't really stand out, does it? What's a color that stands out on blue?
Green.
I just did green. Let's try yellow. Usually yellow is hard to see with the eyes. There you go. Can you guys? That's a lot better, actually. So we'll go ahead and go yellow. I'll do white on my songs. How about that?
Yeah, how about
All right. And let's go ahead and change the face, meaning the font of it. So I'm just going to go up here to see what kind of fonts we have. View font. And we're not responding. There it is. We're good. All right, so let's just find a font that looks nice. Veranda looks fine. I'm going to select Veranda. I'm going to hit Control-C to copy that name exactly how it's spelled. And I'm going to paste that into face. Hit Control-S and hit refresh. There you go. Veranda is now up there. Like so. Let's open up another paragraph. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and list some of the songs. Does anybody know Keith Urban?
no, who even is that?
Give me some songs. Cop Car. What else is there? Is that a song? Rolling Stone. Let's get one more in there. Let's go The Fighter. There you go. That's one of the new ones. The fighter. Sounds good. Good enough. All right. So I put each one of these in a paragraph because I'm going to apply a certain effect to each one of them. So if I go and hit save and refresh, you're going to notice they look just like the default. So what we're going to do is we're first going to change all of these into white text. So I'll zoom up here so you guys can see. All right. So I want all of these to be the same font that I'm going to be using. So what I'm going to do is above it, I'm going to put my font tag around all of them. Because again, anything that is in between the tags is going to be affected by it. So here's my font. Let's first change the color. I'm going to choose white. If I hit Control S and refresh, now the font color is white. And let's go ahead and do size equals, and let's choose 4. See what that looks like. Let's go to 5. There you go. All right, so again, it's applying to all of these 3 songs because the font tags are around them. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to apply one of the 3 strong emphasis or underline to each one. All right, so for cop car, let's go ahead and do the simplest one, which is underline, which is just the U tab. Oops. And again, since cop car is in between the tags U and the closing U, if I hit Control S and hit refresh, underline. For Rolling Stones, let's use strong, which again is for screen readers. It's same as bold visually, but when a screen reader reads it, it will emphasize the word. So again, since Rolling Stone is between the strong tags, it will bold it. And then fighter with EM emphasis, it's the same thing visually as italics. However, though, with screen readers, it will emphasize the word. And there you go. So there are your 3 tags for changing how your text looks there. All right. Last thing I want to go ahead and do, guys, is put an image into our website. So again, this is that one tag that doesn't have a closing tag. It's just kind of in your HTML. If it goes into your root folder and locates the image. So we got our tag image, and then you got SRC, which means where do you want me to find this image source? Where am I looking, or what file am I looking for? And this is where it's important that you choose the exact name you typed or saved your image as. So if I wanted to use this name, I would have to type image source equals Keith-urban-4.jpg in order to load it. But I'm going to make it simple on myself and just type KU, and that is what I'm going to copy over, like so. And hopefully, if I hit refresh, there's the image. All right, now I purposely chose a ginormous image here so I could show you the attributes of width and height. So again, here's our tag, here's our attribute, specification, here's our tag. We want to address the height, and our height's going to be in pixels. So I'm just going to choose 500 px. So if I hit save and refresh, you'll notice it now shrinks it there. And if I choose my width, and I'm going to make it look awkward because it is a landscape image, it's going to make it a little skinnier. All right. Last thing is just the center tag. I know I did it on the H1 up top, but let's go ahead and center our image as well. So again, since we want our image to be centered, we're going to put the center tags around it and close our center tags and hit save. And when I refresh it, Keith Urban will be centered. All right, so let's just again go as a quick review. Doc type HTML, letting them know that you're using the language HTML, and it's going to be your last closing tag. In the head, it's above the body, it's behind the scenes. in the head, you've got the title, which affects and changes the tab at the top of your web browser. Then you've got your body tags, which will be your second to last closing tag right now. And this is where we kind of introduced attributes, which was BG color, and specification, which is blue. Notice we always have quotes around our specification. We went over H1s, which have a designated size and font to them. You can address the size of font and all that, but you kind of ruin the point of using an H1 tag when you do that. Then we got into a paragraph tag where we choose what we want in each paragraph by using an opening P tag and a closing P tag. And then we got into fonts and we went over the attributes size, which again, 1 through 7. Colors can be a hex code or just a generic color. And face, which is going to change the font, but the font needs to be spelled the exact same way as it is on the computer. After that, we've got underline, which is going to underline anything inside the tags. Strong, which is visually the same as bold, but a screen reader strongly emphasizes it. EM, the same thing as italics, but will emphasize it with a screen reader. And then the last thing, which was our image tag, which does not have a closing tag to it, but source, it needs to be typed exactly the same way as you saved that. So if I just did this as K and hit refresh, it's going to show a broken link because it doesn't know where that file's at. And then the height and width is always in pixels. And then that is how you adjust your web page. All right. That'll be on the Google Doc for you guys.